Did you know that in 2025, amid escalating U.S. trade tariffs under President Trump, 8 major nations shocked the world by pivoting their alliances and investments toward India instead of America? This seismic shift highlights India's rising economic powerhouse status, with its GDP surging past $4 trillion and strategic diplomacy outpacing traditional Western ties. From defense pacts to tech collaborations, these moves are reshaping global geopolitics. If you love India and want more insights like this, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications. Let's dive into why these nations chose India over America, counting down from 8 to 1. Starting with number 8, Indonesia. In early 2025, as U.S. tariffs hiked costs on Indonesian exports like palm oil and textiles by up to 25%, Jakarta turned to India for relief. A landmark free trade agreement signed in March 2025 slashed duties on bilateral goods, boosting trade volumes to $30 billion annually. India's investments in Indonesian infrastructure, including a $5 billion high-speed rail project in Java, provided jobs and tech transfers that America couldn't match amid its isolationist policies. Recent updates show Indonesia's President Prabowo Subianto praising India's Make in India initiative during a July summit, leading to joint ventures in renewable energy. This pivot not only stabilized Indonesia's economy, but also strengthened ASEAN-India ties, with cultural exchanges like Bollywood festivals gaining traction. Educated viewers will note how this reflects broader Indo-Pacific realignments, where India's neutral stance in global conflicts appeals more than U.S. demands for allegiance. Number 7. Vietnam. Facing U.S. sanctions on its electronics sector in February 2025, Vietnam deepened ties with India through a comprehensive strategic partnership. Hanoi signed deals worth $10 billion for semiconductor manufacturing, relocating factories from China to India's tech hubs like Bangalore. This move countered America's America First tariffs that added 20% to Vietnamese imports, making Indian markets more accessible. In June 2025, joint military exercises in the South China Sea underscored defense cooperation, with India supplying BrahMos missiles. Updates from August reveal Vietnam's export growth to India jumped 40%, focusing on smartphones and apparel. This educational lens shows how Vietnam leverages India's growing consumer base of 1.4 billion, fostering skill development programs that train thousands in AI and biotech, areas where U.S. restrictions limited access. The shift highlights Vietnam's pragmatic foreign policy, prioritizing economic resilience over ideological alliances. Number 6. Philippines. In April 2025, Manila opted for India over America after U.S. tariffs disrupted its BPO industry, imposing 15% levies on service exports. President Marcos Jr. inked a $8 billion pact with India for digital infrastructure, including undersea cables connecting Manila to Mumbai. This not only bypassed U.S. tech embargoes, but also enhanced cybersecurity collaborations against Chinese threats. Recent developments in July include India's aid during Typhoon Gimi, providing $2 million in relief and satellite tech for disaster management, far surpassing delayed U.S. assistance. Trade figures show a 35% rise in Philippine mango and seafood exports to India. Informatively, this choice educates on how India's Act East policy offers balanced partnerships without the strings of U.S. military bases, promoting joint naval patrols and cultural diplomacy like yoga exchanges, solidifying a people-to-people bond in the region. Number 5. Turkey. Amid U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum escalating to 30% in January 2025, Ankara pivoted to India with a $12 billion defense and energy deal. This included co-production of drones and solar panels, circumventing American export controls. President Erdogan hailed the agreement at a May summit, noting India's reliability in supplying spare parts for Turkish military hardware. Updates from September 2025 indicate a surge in bilateral trade to $15 billion, with Turkish textiles flooding Indian markets. Educationally, this shift illustrates Turkey's multi-vector diplomacy, balancing NATO commitments with BRICS aspirations through India. Joint initiatives in space technology, like satellite launches, and cultural ties via Ottoman Indian history exhibits, make this alliance multifaceted. It's a lesson in how economic pressures can forge unlikely partnerships, enhancing Turkey's role in Eurasian connectivity. Number 4. Saudi Arabia. In March 2025, Riyadh chose India over the U.S. following tariffs that spiked oil import costs by 25%, prompting a $20 billion investment in India's petrochemical sector. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman signed accords for joint refineries in Gujarat, ensuring stable energy supplies. This move diversified Saudi exports away from a tariff-hit American market. Recent August updates reveal a 50% increase in Indian pilgrim visas for Hajj, boosting tourism ties. Informatively, India's neutral stance on Middle East conflicts appealed more than U.S. partisan policies, leading to collaborations in green hydrogen projects. Trade data shows Saudi Aramco's stake in Reliance Industries growing, educating on how this alliance secures food imports for Saudi via Indian agriculture. Cultural exchanges, like Arabic-Indian fusion festivals, add a human element to this strategic pivot. Number 3. Russia. Escalating U.S. sanctions in February 2025 pushed Moscow deeper into India's orbit, with bilateral trade hitting $70 billion via rupee-ruble settlements. Putin and Modi expanded the S-400 defense deal to include hypersonic missiles, bypassing American Kotsa threats. A June 2025 energy pact secured discounted oil at 30% below global rates, stabilizing India's economy. Updates from July show joint Arctic expeditions for resource exploration. This educational narrative reveals how Russia's pivot counters Western isolation, with India providing tech like AI for Rosneft's operations. Cultural ties flourished through Bollywood adaptations of Russian literature, while student exchanges in STEM fields grew 40%. It's a masterclass in resilient partnerships amid global shifts, emphasizing mutual benefits over unilateral dominance. Number 2. Brazil. In May 2025, Brasilia favored India after U.S. tariffs on soybeans and ethanol rose 20%, signing a $15 billion agro-tech agreement. President Lula da Silva highlighted India's market for Brazilian commodities, with exports doubling to $10 billion. This included joint biofuel research addressing climate goals. September updates note a BRICS summit where Brazil and India co-led digital currency initiatives. Informatively, this choice underscores South-South cooperation, educating on how India's pharma supplies aided Brazil's health crises. Defense ties expanded with Embraer India aircraft co-production, while cultural festivals blending Samba and Diwali strengthened bonds. The pivot illustrates emerging economies' collective bargaining power against protectionism, fostering sustainable development models. Finally, number 1. China. Shockingly, in July 2025, Beijing tilted toward India despite border tensions, as Trump's 60% tariffs on Chinese goods backfired, improving relations. A $25 billion border trade pact resolved disputes in Ladakh, with joint EV manufacturing ventures. Xi Jinping's visit in August marked a thaw, boosting trade to $150 billion. Recent updates show collaborative 5G infrastructure projects. This educational twist teaches how U.S. policies inadvertently united rivals, with India gaining from supply chain shifts. Cultural diplomacy via Confucius Institutes in India and yoga in China adds depth. It's the ultimate geopolitical irony, proving economics can trump ideology in a multipolar world. And there you have it, the top 8 nations that chose India over America in 2025, reshaping the global landscape with bold economic and strategic moves. From Indonesia to China, these shifts show India's unstoppable rise as a global powerhouse. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on India's journey to the top. Drop a comment below, which country's pivot surprised you the most? And hit that notification bell to stay tuned for our next deep dive into the stories shaping our world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.